from Center City in Philadelphia, this is Fox 29 News at 10.
Another sign of the season is the annual battle over the word Christmas. Political correctness dictates we say happy holidays, and this week taking Christmas out of the name Christmas Village at City Hall had people all fired up.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
It was always Christmas Village. This is our third year. Me being Jewish myself, I don't think that there's anything wrong with it.
Christ was born, and that's why we celebrate Christmas.
Critics say the word Christmas is fine, but it needs to stay away from government property like City Hall.
So are they advocating a certain religion as a government entity? Yes, they are.
3, 2, 1!
Merry Christmas!
It's the most wonderful time.
Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, no matter the phrase, some people say maybe we should just focus on the season itself. All right, I want to bring in Christian radio host Kurt Flewelling and attorney Danny Savalas into the conversation. Hi, gentlemen. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Lauren.
This has been a big controversy all week long. Danny, first let's start with you. What's your take on the signs?
Well, look, Lauren, we hear this every year. People are offended by the word Christmas. A lot of people are. Maybe they're in the minority, maybe not. But here's the issue. They have a right to be offended. They have a right to complain to their government officials. Here's the key. The correct legal standard does not turn on whether or not people are offended or not offended. The correct legal standard is the government endorsing a particular religion. Now, I personally am not offended, but that doesn't matter when it comes to the legal analysis. To survive an Establishment Clause attack, we must ask, does the sign or display, does it endorse a particular kind of religion?
All right, Kurt, what's your take on it? The public outcry was big on the sign coming down.
My take is I am thankful that common sense has been restored. It's coming back in America. People of faith across the board have sat on their hands too long, and it's offended people that are putting unreasonable demands on the rest of us that have awoken these people, if you will. And you saw that this week. The people that usually remain silent came out in force, and Mayor Nutter had to backpedal.
Okay, well, everybody has the right to say, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas. But in this case, what about the government institution?
Well, yeah. I can address that. In Uliski versus the city of Syracuse, it clearly states and upholds a person's constitutional right. In that instance, the person wanted to put a menorah out in the public square. The city of Syracuse said you could not do that. The city of Syracuse lost. The First Amendment clearly protects institutions, churches, and individuals to their right to display these things in public. And there's municipalities all over this country right now that are putting up crosses, menorahs, and during Ramadan, Islamic symbols for that matter.
Danny?
Here's the bottom line. Look, Kurt is making my point for me, but in a different way. The bottom line is, does it advance religion? The Supreme Court has held, in fact, that Christmas itself is a cultural phenomenon. It's actually secular. Many of us celebrate Christmas, and I bet, without admitting, a lot of them haven't been to church. So the idea that people of faith should come out and support it is exactly the problem to begin with. If they do, if it is a faith-based issue, if that's the only reason you approve of it because it endorses your faith, then it endorses a religion and it's incorrect. In fact, I would actually argue that the word Christmas is secular enough, and the Supreme Court has held that municipalities can celebrate Christmas. So in this case, the word Christmas, as applied to village by itself, my analysis would be that it does not violate the Establishment Clause. And it's okay, but because it's secular, not because it endorses a religion that you like. If it does that, then it's constitutionally impermissible. So in fact, I don't have a problem with Christmas, but whether I have a problem with it or not, it actually probably is still constitutionally permissible, but not because it's Christmas, because it's secular.
Kurt, is there a sensitivity issue here because of majority versus minority and this whole issue of wanting to include everybody?
Well, let's all come together on this one. The word Christmas in a Christmas Village sign at Christmas time is not offensive. Right up the turnpike outside the city of New York, a secular humanist group is putting up a billboard that says the virgin birth is a myth, celebrate the season with reason. that's offensive. So I think we have to use our common sense here.
Actually, that's not the standard, and Kurt makes my argument for me. He's choosing a message that he likes and a message that he doesn't like. And in doing so, he's advancing a particular religion, and that exceeds the constitutional standard. In fact, the mere use of the word Christmas is probably okay because it's secular. And the fact that Kurt argues that he's offended by one message and not offended by another means he's advancing a religion. That's a constitutional no-no. It's clear Supreme Court law.
All right, Danny and Kurt, we appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much for joining us on this Friday night.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Laura.
Thomas